when we really think about it truthfully, do we really want a husband that is just waiting on us hand and foot and don't have a life of their own, or that is waiting for us to give them some type of order or some direction? We actually want them to be able to do the things that we don't want to do and that we don't do as women. I would assume so.
Warning, viewer discretion is advised. The content, views, and educational material you are about to experience could challenge your belief, trigger strong emotions, and frankly, piss you off. This isn't for everyone. If you're not ready to confront new ideas, or if your feelings bruise easily, this might be the time to click away. Expect to be challenged, to think, and you might even want to scream at the screen. Proceed with caution, and remember, you chose to be here. Let's get it.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace is your accountability and desirability coach, Coach Nyla, one of the co-founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, as well as co-author of the book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. Yes, in this video, I'm going to, hopefully I can keep it short and sweet, because this is really interesting. I'm going to be discussing spousal envy, and it's different than a jealous spouse. Yeah, have you guys ever heard of that? Let me know in the comments what you think spousal envy is. Because I've noticed from time to time with comments that I've seen, different clients that I've coached, as well as just different observations that I've had over the years of how serious this is and how devastating and jacked up, seriously, it can actually be for a relationship, for a marriage. And this is totally different than a jealous spouse. As we know, we have jealousies. We have these normal jealousies that it can be where, what women say that they're protective of their husbands and stuff like that, or protective of their children. And I'm going to get into that in a whole nother video when it's not, when we're discussing where it's not what we think it is. It's not being protective. It's actually being possessive. But we'll get into that in another video because that's not the video that we're talking about right here. So when it all comes down to it, being a jealous spouse is when you are jealous of certain things where you might think that there's attention being given somewhere else, or that you have like this fear of loss, that something is going to come and take something away from you, whether it's or encroach on your territory, those different things like that. So it can stem from fear, it can stem from anxiety, it can stem from insecurities and things as far as that. And it's natural. However, how we deal with it is important. However, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is spousal envy. When we are envious or jealous, or like I said, envious, where it's a higher level of jealousy of our own spouse, of our loved ones. And I see it a lot, especially when it comes to those in polygyny, because you'll have a number of women that say, and even before they even enter in polygyny, or they don't even have polygyny is not even on the table in their marriage, but when they see different things, they'll say, well, if my husband even talk about it, I'm gonna ask if I can have more than one husband. Or you have other women who don't even care of that being a conversation, but they'll automatically ask, well, can we have more than one husband? Okay, so that knee-jerk reaction that usually happens is responsibilities that come with being a spouse. Wouldn't you agree? There's responsibilities that come with being a spouse. So being a wife, there's responsibilities. Or are you the wife that your husband is just doting over you? He is at your beck and call, and all he does is just wait on you hand and foot. You let me know in the comments if you're one of those, because that's a rare thing to see. Because men don't operate like that. Real men don't operate like that. Real men are protectors, providers, maintainers. They're not ones that are just trying to just people please their wives. That's just not what they do. That's not what they're built for. And we'll get into that in a whole nother conversation. But all, things being everything, when we think about it, do we want a husband? Seriously, honestly, when we really think about it, truthfully, Do we really want a husband that is just waiting on us hand and foot and don't have a life of their own, or that is waiting for us to give them some type of order or some direction? We actually want them to be able to do the things that we don't want to do and that we don't do as women. I would assume so. I mean, I know with me as a woman, me loving to be the feminine woman that I am, I like to embrace my femininity. And embracing my femininity is doing things that women do and not try to overpower my husband and overshadow him in anything that he does. It's responsibility in that, though. It's responsibility in the things that husbands do. So even if they're polygynous by nature, even because they're polygynous by nature, and if they were to marry again, or if they were to have multiple wives, there's responsibility in having these multiple wives. They still have to take care of this growing family. They have to deal with different emotions and triggers and trying to keep things together. I put a joke in or like a funny story in our community. If you're not part of it, definitely check us out at polygamycommunity.com. But I put a funny story in there about how the husband mixed up the wives' the pizza order. So it was certain things that one wife liked a particular thing and one wife, could do without a particular thing, and she did not like spice, and he mixed up the orders. Common mistake on certain things. That was just a little funny story of how being able to laugh at certain things and be lighthearted about things and not take things so serious or be so deep about it can increase and improve your marriage. Here's the thing where spousal envy can wreak havoc on that, where, as I stated in the story, or I stated about the story, about being lighthearted, and not taking things so serious, or things being so deep. For one, comparison is the thief of joy. So, we say that a lot, and it's true. A lot of times we talk about it when it's in comparison to our co-wives, or we say it when it's in comparison to other women. But that's the same when it comes to our spouses. And these are people that we love, These are our loved ones. So comparing yourself, for one, that's a whole man right there. You're not a man, you're a woman. I know I don't have to tell you that. You know that. You see yourself in the mirror every day. So when it comes down to it, what you're going to, when you're comparing apples to oranges or apples to cucumbers or whatever you want to call it, because it's totally different, you're going to come up with a losing scenario every time, because you're looking for something to complain about, or you're looking for something to be negative on. You're not looking for the joy in the things. So being envious of what your spouse can do or what your spouse has takes away from you, takes away from the amazing things that you can do, for the amazing things that you have. You can have some spouses that, one is like, oh, well, he can go out and do these things and he can kick it with the guys, and, I have to be home with the kids, or certain things like that. Instead of looking at it as that, oh, he can go out with the guys, or he can go out and do these other things, and I got to be home with the kids. You got to think of what that looks like going out. Yeah, that little time that he's spending with the guys is still other stuff. It's still other things that he do when he's going out. It's things when he's going to the store, when he's dealing with traffic, when he's dealing with, irate people, when he's going to work and dealing with the stresses and drama and struggles of that. And you're dealing with children that came from you, little people that you can, have fun with and grow and mold and things like that. It's totally different than dealing with ginormous adults that, can act like toddlers or act like kids. So, and that's just a little snippet scenario. It's so many different things we can compare and contrast, or we can sit here and say, am I grateful? What am I grateful for that I have right now? Because when we're grateful for the things we already have, we're going to get more. And even if we're grateful for the challenging times, and I'm going to get into that in another video as well, because I'm going to talk about how gratitude, even during trying times, can be a benefit to your life as well as your marriage. Because things start opening up for you. You can learn more. You can handle things with grace. You can handle things in a better way. And then because you can handle those things in a better way, then you get more of the good. You get more of the benefit. So instead of being envious of what your spouse can do or what your spouse is doing, you have a number of different things. Sometimes people are like, oh, well, they can sleep more, than I can because I have to get up early and I have to do these other things, or because, I have so much on my mind, or they get to work out more, or they can get to go to the gym and I got to stay at home, or it's so many different things. And it all comes down to having that comparison be the thief of joy. And when you're doing that in your relationship, it starts to break down the connection in your relationship. You're not able to connect with one another because you're too busy comparing what the other one can do, or comparing the life of the other one. This is harder for me, or this is easier for you, instead of understanding, or trying to understand what they are going through in their day-to-day life. So how do you get out of that? First recognize it. You got to understand that it can happen, because we all will feel a certain way. And it's not about wanting what that person has, so to speak. It's wanting the feeling that can possibly come from it. Excuse me if it's like super loud because somebody is revving up or something out there. It's really crazy. All right. So I don't know what that's about, but anywho, when it comes down to it, you make sure that you are trying to understand what's going on in their lives, and be appreciative and be grateful. Be grateful of what's going on in yours. Embrace the good things that's happening, and learn from any type of errors, mistakes, or anything like that. We're human beings. There are times where we're not going to be clear on what's going on because we're assuming things. And watch out for my next video when I discuss how communication, the communication mistakes that we make in our marriage, because it's really important to know how to communicate to connect with your spouse, how to communicate and to connect, especially in polygyny. So what was I saying? I was losing my train of thought after that noise that was revving up in the background. But yeah, understand the differences and appreciate the differences. So that's what you want to do as a spouse, as a loving spouse, as a caring spouse, and not compare and contrast, because you're different. You will never be, as a wife, you will never be a husband, and as a husband, you will never be a wife. As a woman, you will never be a man, and as a man, you will never be a woman, regardless of what they're trying to put out there. It's not the same. Artificial men and women are not real men and women. It's what it is. I'm being real. So make sure you do that. And seek first to understand, then be understood. Always talk about that. That's very important to do, because when it all comes down to it, understanding each other, having clarity instead of assuming, is the key to connecting. Is one of the keys anyway to connecting with one another. And also giving each other grace, because there are going to be times where we're agitated, from what we're going through in our lives. But to tell your husband that you would never understand, or you don't get it, or you got it easy, or to even do the same with a wife and say that you don't understand, or all you do is this, or you only have this, so you could at least do this for me, type of thing, or envious of their life. You're not trying to see, you're only seeing little snippets, you're only seeing pieces of it. So be mindful of looking at the whole picture, seeing the bigger picture, and trying to understand each other more and connect with each other more and appreciate what the other person has, what the other person is able to do, and appreciate that and love that for them. Because when it all comes down to it, sometimes we don't even want the things that they have. Like I stated before, it's not about wanting the things that they have. You want the feeling, whether the feeling is fulfillment, joy, freedom, happiness, whatever it is. But you can have that in your own special way. Okay, so I hope you guys got some good information from this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share, because sharing is caring. If you got some really good benefit from it, make sure you do that. It's Coach Nyla, the accountability and desirability coach. I look forward to seeing you in our community. Make sure you check us out at polygamycommunity.com, and I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you're growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.